Welcome to Feel Good from Within. I'm Yvette Le Blowitz, your Spirit Girl podcast host. We're here today with Mark Stevens, who is our very special guest. He is a Master Practitioner of Hypnosis. He is a Tai Chi teacher, meditation, jujutsu black belt. He's a best-selling author. He's a regular on our media. And he has also created the groundbreaking Think Slim, Think Calm, Think Sleep, and Think Quit programs, and the Mind Free app, which is at mindfreeapp.com. When he's not running sessions at his Little Forest Health Retreat, he is doing keynote speeches and helping thousands of people transform their life. We're here today to talk about his brand new book, Mind Free, the breakthrough mindful self-hypnosis method. Say goodbye to negative thoughts, stress, insomnia, weight issues, and more. We're going to find out today from Mark Stevens how we can ditch negative thoughts, smash procrastination, and break bad habits. Stress less, sleep well. And we're going to talk about all things to do with Mind Free and how we can feel better from within. Mark Stevens, how are you today?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on your show, Yvette.
Congratulations, first of all, on your book, Mind Free, which is published by Murdoch Books. How does it feel to see me holding up your book? And how does it feel to see your book out now, published and on the bookshelves in Australia, and people are buying it, getting it, reading it, loving it? How does it feel?
Yeah, it feels great because it's been a long time project. I did start writing Mind Free in 1998. So it's been a long time project. It was on again, off again, on again, off again. Eventually, during COVID, I knuckled down, spoke to Murdoch. They said, we'd love to do the book, believe it will help a lot of people. And so far, going into bookshops to sign it, seeing it there on the shelves, it's very exciting to walk in after such a long time, after 23 years. Now starting to get positive feedback from people because it's only been in the shops for a couple of weeks, but we're already getting lots of emails from people saying, I love this little affirmation. I love this meditation. I've just read the section on bad habits and already I'm breaking bad habits. So we're getting really positive feedback. And the idea is to help as many people as possible in an easy, affordable way. Not everyone's going to go to a retreat. Not everyone's going to go off to me, the hypnotherapist, or a book. Everybody can read a book. Everybody can get those lessons. Everybody can keep returning to it like a manual for life. That's really what it is. It's like a mind manual for your life.
Having read your book, it did feel like I was doing a one-on-one hypnotherapy session with you, working through my own limitations or thoughts, and then learning all of those meditations, the breathe in and the breathe out and the affirmations and how to reframe and retrain my mind has been incredible. But before we dive into your book, are you happy to tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Well, I started as an 8-year-old. I had a heavy drinking father. He was an alcoholic. He used to drink 20, 30 beers a day. So as a young child, I had that environment, but I had chronic asthma from the chain smoking grandmother, not his mother, but my mother's mother. She was an alcoholic as well, my mother's mother. So I was surrounded by the heavy drinking, surrounded by the smoking, living in a cloud of smoke. And obviously those tiny little lungs of mine as a 3, 4, 5-year-old, I end up with chronic asthma through the age of 6 and 7 and 8. Rushed to hospital many, many times. If you've ever had an asthma attack, it's like someone's choking you, sitting on your chest, suffocating you, and you're going, oh, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I can't breathe. So I was rushed to hospital many times like that. I think I was around 7 or 8 years old. So it's a bit over 50 years ago. I was at the hospital. I was sitting there with my mum after an appointment. The doctor said, oh, we're doing a meditation and yoga breathing course. And I think it'd be really good for Mark and for you, my mum, to come along, Linny, to come along and learn that. He said, which I think will help the breathing exercise to strengthen the lungs and the meditations to de-stress, to counter that. And so we went and did the course and it was fantastic. And from that moment onwards, it was like I was hooked on meditation, yoga breathing. And then through my teens, around the age of 16, I started doing jujutsu and then Tai Chi, Qigong, and all the people I was fortunate enough to be surrounded by were not just jujitsu masters, but they were naturopaths, iridologists, homeopaths. So I was very lucky to be surrounded by a lot of natural health in my environment, and ended up doing 15 jujitsu classes a week, ended up running a school, and then continuing on doing lots of meditation classes and other things. I was involved in a printing business and doing all sorts of things, but 15 classes a week and loving every minute of it, from schoolgirls and grandmothers to young boys and to adult groups and so on. And we finished every class with a group meditation. So 15 times a week, I was doing a group visualization, guided imagery, meditation. And I took to that like a duck to water. The naturopathy, the homeopathy all sounded nice, but my thing was telling stories. Close your eyes, imagine you're on a beach. Waves are rolling up and down the sand, and all your stress just gets washed away. And so I was right into that side of it, and I loved it. And then at around the age of 28, found out I had cancer. 18 months, 2 years earlier, my younger brother had died in a motorcycle accident. It was tragic. And we all go, if we live long enough, we're going to lose people. So we'll all go through that grieving thing. But it really knocked the wind out of my sails. And 18 months, 2 years after that, I found out I had cancer, second stage, rapidly growing lymphoma. And I immersed myself in everything natural. I was doing 8 to 10 hours of meditation a day. I was doing Tai Chi, Qigong, self-hypnosis, juicing. I was having 13 juices a day. You name it, I was doing everything I could. And in the end, I ended up combining in the chemotherapy. So it was the best of Western medicine with the best of Eastern medicine, putting it all together. And at the time, the professor, one of the world's leading oncologists, Professor Martin Tattersall, he said, "Mark, I've never seen the immune system bounce back so quickly while on chemotherapy. So keep doing those juices, keep doing your meditation, keep doing all those alternative things you're doing, because it's all making a difference." And he even said to me a very interesting thing that really stuck in my mind. He said, "Your belief that you're going to get better is half the battle." He said, "When you believe you'll get better," he said, "you're greatly increasing your chances of recovery." And so, this whole positive mindset thing further developed then, but it started much earlier, because when I was a child, Dad would come in, Ronnie would come in drunk, and he'd say, "You're lazy, you're good for nothing. If you had half a brain, mate, you'd be dangerous." And he was never physically abusive, but he was emotionally drunk talk. And Mum would come in, she'd hear it, and she'd say, "Shut up, Ronnie. Don't you ever speak to your son like that again. Mark, don't believe a word he says. You're creative. You're funny. You're talented. You're artistic." And I go, yeah, I am. I'm not going to listen to what he says. I choose not to believe that. She said, "Don't believe a word your father says." So luckily, not everyone has a Linny in their corner, but I did. So she guided me. And then she'd say, don't speak like that. If you're not going to say anything good, don't say anything at all. And then he'd have to shut up, because Mum was pretty tough. And so throughout those formative years, whenever he said anything negative, I was able to delete it and say, "Not true. I'm talented. I'm artistic. I am smart." All these other things. And so I was lucky to be reprogrammed from that very early age. And that is what I found is one of the biggest challenges in life, the programming from our environment, teachers, the media, community, whatever it might be. We all get programmed to a degree, and then we move through life believing these thoughts to be true. And those thoughts become like prison bars of, "It's too hard. I'll probably fail. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm this, I'm that," whatever it is. And we identify with that belief, and that becomes the prison bars of life we move through in life. And that's where I believe my mission is, to help people change that old story and those prison bars of life.
It's wonderful you had your mum in your corner cheering you on and telling you what you were, because that positive influence and that positive programming at a young age helped you. And I know that maybe some of our listeners maybe had Ronnie and maybe their mum equivalent to Ronnie. So they're thinking, right, I need your help, Mark.
A lot of people haven't had the positive Linny in their corner. And that's why all the work I do is on helping people. They need that little voice in their head saying, "You are okay. You are good enough. You can do it. It's possible. Rather than, I just can't do it. I'm not good enough. No, it's time to change that old story and step into your own greatness, to start to back yourself, believe in yourself, and to feel good. And it all comes down to the story we tell ourselves. So we can change the old program. Just because somebody says it doesn't mean it's true. Work with people 1,000 times. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. At some point, they start to tell themselves the same story. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. It's all too hard. I'll probably fail. Why even bother anyway? Well, it won't work. And so we tell ourselves this story, and they're the prison bars of life. Now, when you combine the prison bars of life, all those negative self-talk patterns, that inner conversation, with the backpack of life, what you're carrying around, the experiences, the events, the way you felt, the memories, the imprints, the videos running in our subconscious mind, along with all those experiences and feelings, that's in the backpack. And then you've got the prison bars, and people wonder why it's hard to break a habit like overeating, comfort eating, stopping smoking, stopping drinking. It's not the smoking or the drink or the food that is the problem as much as the story we tell ourselves.
Wow. In your book, you talk about the unconscious mind and the conscious. You mentioned then we have these stories that run in the background.
It's like they float to the surface of our mind. So the conscious mind, at the moment, you can hear my voice, you can see me. There's a few other things happening at the one time. That's consciously what we're aware of. But unconsciously is all our stored memories, all our experiences, all our feelings, those thought patterns that can play like a broken record. Not good enough, not good enough, not too hard, too hard. And we can break that pattern. We don't need to keep living that old story. We can change. Sometimes we just need a little bit of help to work out how to change it. And that's what I've done with the Mind Free book.
And what about this, the breakthrough mindful self-hypnosis?
Well, so you've got meditation and mindfulness. Mindfulness has become the big buzzword in recent years. And so has meditation. It's become very popular in yoga and so on. You've got meditation and mindfulness. Mindfulness is one form of meditation. Mindfulness is about being present, being in the moment. So you can have the mindfulness of breathing, the mindfulness being mindfully eating. I could grab my vitamin C water and I could take that and mindfully open that, hearing the splash of the water, the lid coming off, feeling the cool glass in my hand. I was nowhere else for that moment. I was in the moment. I wasn't looking at something on the computer. I wasn't listening to someone chat, drinking or eating mindlessly. I was mindful in the moment. We can do that when we're walking. Tai Chi is a moving mindful meditation. Yoga is a moving mindful meditation. Being in nature, you can just be in nature and just smelling the air, feeling the earth under your feet, feeling the gentle breeze, feeling the energy of those mountains and trees and the sunlight. We can be mindful and present in all of those moments. When someone's surfing on a wave, they're not thinking, now, what time do I get the kids from school? They're in the moment of the flow of the wave. And so if we can find things in our day to be mindful at doing, like gardening, doing the dishes, preparing a meal, eating, we don't have to sit there and meditate as such for an hour or half an hour, because we can weave moments of mindfulness, which are meditation, into the day. And when it comes to meditation, there are so many ways which you can meditate. The Aboriginal community has its special meditations. It's connecting with nature. It's awareness of presence and spirit and so on. I'm aware of that because my sister works in the Aboriginal community, counselling and all sorts of things. We've got Tibetan meditations, Buddhist meditations. You can meditate to a candle. You can look at a candle flame and you can watch it, and then you close your eyes and you can still see the flame. Or you've got breathing meditations. Meditation comes from the Latin word meditare, which means to focus on or give your attention to. So in meditation, we're putting our attention, could be a mantra, could be a positive affirmation, like I am strong, I am strong, or it could be anything at all, like Om. We could meditate in so many different ways. That's meditation, which for me, meditation is a wonderful way to to be present or to bring down our stress levels. Because every day, little things are happening that keep pushing the stress levels up. And it's almost like we've got this pressure cooker lid of life going, bup, 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 and without a release valve. A lot of people will reach for the cigarette, for the alcohol, for the comfort food, for drugs, to be able to go, and that becomes the relaxation, whereas there's 1,000 other ways to relax. So every time we meditate, we're bringing the pressure down. Every time we're mindful, every time we just do a simple appreciation. I appreciate the sun and the moon. I appreciate the air I'm breathing. I appreciate my family and my friends. I appreciate my legs that allow me to move, or my eyes that allow me to see the colors of nature. I appreciate so much. I'm lucky, I'm grateful. When we're in that moment, we're in that moment. We're not worrying about something in the future, worrying about something in the past. We're present. And so all of these little things we can do allow us to turn down the anxiety or the stress dial or the depression dial or the worry dial. And we bring that down and we keep returning to a place of calm. And then with hypnosis, it dates back, the first recorded instruction or information on hypnosis goes back to the ancient Egyptian sleep temples around 4,000 years ago, where people would come in with a problem. They'd lie down on this big stone-like bed or high tablet, like a bench, and they'd have a blanket on there, a pillow, and the person would lie and look back up. The hypnotherapist of the day would stare into their eyes and look at them deep into the eyes and just say, "You are well. You are well. You are well." Over and over again, they'd repeat this, and the person would start going, "I am well. I'm well." And miraculously, they get up and go, "What was my problem? What was wrong anyway? I feel amazing. I am well." It was like a brainwashing to a degree. So what I've done with the Mind Free book is combine the hypnosis, the positive suggestion, because everyone's heard of stage show hypnosis. That's something else. Dance like a chicken, quack like a duck, whack, whack. Answer your shoe phone. "Hello, Chief. This is Max. I'm surrounded by 100 deadly chaos agents." And it's like, or sing like Elvis. Now, wouldn't it be lovely if I could be made to sing like Elvis? When my baby, I'd love to be able to sing like Elvis. So, look, there is hypnosis, things that can make you do that, but stage show hypnosis is very different. With clinical hypnosis, what we're doing is discussing with a person what their biggest challenges are, what goal they'd like to achieve, and then helping them visualize that, or changing the story, the internal dialogue inside, to feel better and to let go of the past, to go, the past has passed. That was yesterday. That was then. This is now. And I'm okay now. I let it go. I'm in the present. I'm moving into the future. I'm making progress. And so we let go of the past as much as possible and not worry too much about the future. We've got a plan for it, work things out, but to be as present in the now as much as possible. So I've combined the mindfulness meditation with the self-hypnosis, because all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. And so when I say to you, "You are well. You are well," it's only when you start to go, "You know what, I am well." Or if I say, "You are good enough. You are amazing." When you walk off and go, "I am amazing. I am good enough," that's the self-hypnosis working, because now you're telling a new story. Then you visualize your outcomes. And I know in Aboriginal culture, for example, the dream time goes way back before the Egyptian sleep temple. So I'm pretty sure there was some style or form of hypnosis that's been around for a very, very long time. That's all been here in Australia. Whoever we are here now in Australia, whether you have Aboriginal heritage or whether, like me, you're a quarter Irish, quarter Spanish, quarter Norwegian, quarter English, we're all here with that heritage surrounding us. It's in the earth, it's in the air we breathe, it's in the oceans, it's in the trees, it's in the rivers and the lakes and in the mountains and in nature. And sometimes we forget that.
One of the interesting things in your book was you talked about that we are the best hypnotherapists.
It's like I'm being the guide and you're learning hypnosis, because we're all stuck in some type of trance, whether that's the "I'm not good enough" trance or the "I'm too busy" trance. I'm just too busy, too busy, too busy. I've got too much on, which creates a feeling of overwhelm. It increases stress and anxiety. I just don't have the time I've got way too much on. I can't cope. The thoughts attached to feelings, to more thoughts, and it all becomes overwhelming. So with the hypnosis, you're trying to retrain the brain to go, I focus on one thing at a time. It's possible. I'll make it work. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. I know I can. And then all of a sudden that creates a different energy. So if I say to you now, think of a tree. Imagine a tree, even eyes open or closed. Obviously, if you're driving, eyes open. But if you're not driving, eyes closed, and just imagine a tree and think of a tree. And now open your eyes and, Yvette, let me ask, what type of a tree did you just imagine?
I just thought of a mango tree because we had one in our front yard when I was growing up.
We've got a lot. You can't beat the mango. It's the ultimate. When the mango's good, damn, it's good. But see, anyone else listening to this right now might have thought of a gum tree or an oak tree or a willow tree or a lemon tree or an apple tree or just a tree. Maybe they thought of a cartoon tree with a brown stump or a brown trunk and a round green bush. But that's the self-hypnosis part. All I said was imagine a tree. Who did the rest? You did the rest. So that's where it becomes self-hypnosis. So you're guided to hypnotize yourself, to reset the mind, to retrain the mind, and to flip that switch in the mind so that you can start to remove those prison bars of negative thinking.
In your book, one of the things I really loved, mind-free minute meditations, some breathe in and breathe out. I am calm. I feel calm. Just breathe. I've got this.
One of my favorites with that is breathe in peace, breathe out release. In peace, out release. This is why I included a number of 1-minute meditations in the book, because people think, oh, you need 20 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour to meditate. No, you don't. You need 1 minute. It's 3 or 4 or 5 breaths. And our breathing is with us all the time, but we forget that. So when we can just step back and go take a slow breath in, peace in your mind, release. And all of a sudden you feel a whole lot calmer just with 1 breath. But if you do it for 3 breaths or you do it for a minute or 2, you feel so much calmer. And just breathe, I've got this. Even though I'd started the breathing to counter the stress as a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old with the chronic asthma attacks and so on, it was just the breathing and the counting. I would count the breath. Breathe in for 4, breathe out for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. So that was more sort of the techniques I learned then. But then with the jujutsu, when I was going for my first grading, my black belt teacher, he was a 5th dan at the time, he turned around and he could see my nerves. It was like 3 months I'd been training, and I was an unco kid. I was an overweight kid. I was uncoordinated. I wouldn't know what to do. I just was very uncoordinated, but I was getting better. And then when it came to that first grading night, I was nervous as anything. And Brian sensed those nerves, and he came over and he said, just breathe. You've got this. And I went, and I just took a deep breath. And that thought, that was hypnosis. He hypnotized me to believe, to think, just breathe. You've got this. And so then I was getting ready to do it. Just breathe. I've got this. Just breathe. I've got this. And I breathed. And I handled all the moves. I did all the throws. I did the strangles. I did the elbows. I did all the right moves. And I passed. It was good. And that continued on for, it's till this day. Just take a deep breath. Just breathe. I've got this. Just breathe. I've got this. It's a wonderful meditation that we can all use because we've got our breath with us all the time. And when we combine the power of thought with the power of breath, it's an affirmation with a deep breath in. It's as if we breathe those words in and we think them to every cell of our being, and then we breathe them into our heart, and then we can even breathe them and speak them into the world. What's wrong with walking down the street saying, just breathe. I've got this. I've got this. And if you don't have it, you get back up and you go, I've got it. I've got it.
One of the things I also love in your book, the bad habits solution, where you talk about list your bad habits, list your triggers, select a substitute, use the habit swap visualization techniques, practice mindful hypnotherapy techniques. First of all, I think I ticked a lot of the bad habits. I was like, whoa, tick, 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 tick. There's an A to Z list, everyone. And It's okay if you ticked a lot of them, like myself. There were things like always saying sorry, having too much coffee, chocolate, checking emails too often. There is a raft of things here, running late, not listening, everything from video games, too much time online, worrying, swearing, social media, speeding. It goes on and on and on. You've pretty much covered a lot of bad habits. However, you did say in the book, if you can't find your bad habit there, that's okay. Just write it in.
Exactly.
So I loved that.
Look, we all have bad habits, whether it's staying up late, watching too much telly, biting our nails, smoking, drinking too much, unhealthy foods. The list goes on and on and on. And so what I suggest is just to pick one at a time, maybe even start off to get the hang of how to break the habit. Pick one of the easier ones that isn't like, oh, major issue. I'm smoking 2 packs a day and I stay up a little bit late. Which is the worst one? Well, the worst ones are smoking. Let's start with the staying up too late. And so therefore the idea is to go, what am I going to do instead? So if it's unhealthy eating, eat some fruit. If it's drinking Coca-Cola or sugar-filled drinks, drink some water or herbal tea or something else. If it's too much coffee, drink a tea or water or a juice. If it's too much time on social media, reading a book. There's always something better to do. One of the things I say to people is to bring that habit out of the unconscious, to be constantly aware. We create a picture, and the book takes you step by step through this. We create a picture about to do the habit. So you're about to have a smoke, or you're about to turn on the remote control on the television, you're about to bite your nails. And so you get that picture in your mind, you think to yourself, I don't need it, I don't want it, I won't do it. And you imagine that picture getting thrown away as you also imagine out the distance the new you zooming in over the top, big and bright. So we actually swap the two pictures. One gets thrown away and the other one comes in bright over the top. Then we close our eyes and we see ourselves doing the new behavior, the new habit, or just being content and happy. And so we repeat that a number of times. We brainwash ourselves again to throw away the old problem, to see ourselves doing the new behavior. Then we can do a self-hypnosis to visualize ourselves taking action on our new behaviors, our new goals, and to visualize or imagine or think of ourselves saying, no, I don't need it, I don't want it, I won't have it, or I won't do it. But the superpower here is your decision. When you make a decision to do something, you want to step into that power of the decision, because our whole day, from the moment we wake up till the moment we go to sleep, is a series of decisions. Do I sleep in or do I get up? Do I have breakfast? Do I skip it? Do I have something unhealthy or do I have something simple and healthy? Do I go for a walk? Do I turn on the TV? Do I listen to something negative that's going to depress me, or do I go and do something that's good, that's going to uplift me and nourish me when it comes to sleep? A lot of people I talk to, they say, I'm a shocking sleeper. And I go, what do you do at night? I watch NCIS or CSI or some other violent crime show. I say, so to help yourself get to sleep, you're watching autopsies, car chases, murders, people getting stabbed or attacked, suspense, fear, and that's how you prepare for sleep. And they're going, doesn't really make sense, because it creates adrenaline and cortisol, the stress hormones run through us when we're watching a show that's creating fear. Now, I'm not saying don't ever watch that. Just in the last hour or two before going to bed, if you've got trouble sleeping, I'd say that would be contributing. Whereas if you were to turn around and say the last hour before bed, no TV, no computers, no blue light, which reduces the brain, the body's ability to produce melatonin, which is the sleep chemical. So no blue lights at all, nothing for that last hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. Listen to some music, play some music, read a book, do some meditation, go for a walk, do some Tai Chi, Qigong, some stretching, call a friend, listen to some meditation, self-hypnosis. There's 1,000 things we can do, learn a new language, whatever it is. There's 1,001 things we can do instead of the bad habit. It's a case of listing then, well, what would I like to do instead? What does the content, happy me look like? What does it sound like? How do I feel? What am I thinking? We involve all the senses there.
In your book, you shared, I'm thankful for today, and you talk about focusing on what you appreciate in the evening instead of churning over what went wrong in the day.
Most people who have trouble sleeping are replaying events from the day or events that happened last week, last month, maybe 10 years ago. Or they're worrying about tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. So we're not present. So the appreciation meditation is the secret to this. When you are feeling appreciation and thinking thoughts of gratitude or appreciation, you can no longer feel stress and anxiety while you're doing that, because we don't feel two opposing emotions at the same time. So it's not like I'm all stressed out, but I'm so happy and grateful for my loved ones, for this roof over my head, for my home or my bed, my pillow. What you're doing, the Tibetans do a wonderful meditation where they start way, 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 way out in the universe. I'm grateful for all the stars that light the night sky. I appreciate the sun and the moon, the sun that warms the earth, the moon that lights the evening sky and all the stars. I appreciate the wind and the rain. I appreciate the oceans and nature and the mountains and rivers and all the trees in nature and all the wonderful foods produced by nature, the wonderful animals and creatures on this planet and on this earth. And what you're doing is gradually bringing your awareness back. And then I appreciate my community, my family, my friends. I appreciate my home, this roof over my head. I appreciate my bed. I appreciate my pillow. I'm grateful for having legs that allow me to move around, and for my sense of smell, and for my heart that tirelessly pumps blood. So what you've done is you've gone from the distance. The meditation brings you back to now. So you're very present. And then that calms you. But then from there, you can also add in a simple meditation like legs in legs, back in back, arms in arms, head in head, body and mind together as one. And by doing that, you are just very present in the moment. You've stopped thinking about what happened today, churning you up and saying, oh, I won't be able to get to sleep. I'll be thinking about this all night. I'm so worried. I can't believe the person said that, did this. I'm hopeless. Oh, whatever it is, you let go of that and just think, breathing in peace, breathing out release. I feel at peace. I am at peace. Peace, release. And you're very present, very now, and you can slow your mind down. Instead of I'm going to have a bad sleep, I'll have a wonderful rest. Don't even worry about sleeping. I'll lie down and have a wonderful rest. And what happens is the brain releases natural feel-good chemicals, relaxants, the endorphins, the serotonin, the happy chemicals, the dopamine, rather than I'm a shocking sleep. I'm not going to be able to sleep again. That all increases cortisol and adrenaline, which stops you from sleeping. So those thoughts and the way we're feeling determine our way of being.
And you have an incredible mind-free app. Can you tell us a little bit about the actual app?
Over the last 25, 27 years, I've been recording hypnosis sessions, meditation sessions covering sleep, chronic pain, bad habits, anxiety, weight loss, and so on, stopping smoking. All of those programs are on there. De-stressing. There's more than 400 sessions on it. We're adding new sessions to it regularly so that people can have their hypnotherapist with them at any time, so that you can switch on, and rather than the voice in your head saying, oh, I've got to worry about this, I'm worried about that, what if this happens, what if that happens, I can't believe that happened. Rather than that, you just sit back, lie down, close your eyes. That's the hardest thing you've got to do. And my voice will say to you, go ahead and relax. Imagine all tension drifting away, floating away, dissolving away, as you simply breathe in and breathe out. There's nowhere to go, nothing to do. This is your time to simply relax and rest and just let go. So that, along with pain healing, along with slimming sessions, there's motivation sessions. We're continuing to develop this all the time so that people can have their own hypnotherapist with them 24/7 on their phone, the Mind-Free app. But what I have done in the book is taken all of the best programs from the book, knowing that some people like to read. Some people like to learn by reading, and to make it very accessible and as a gift for someone that might have trouble sleeping, or that might have chronic pain, or that might have some bad habits or overeating or too much stress and negative thoughts. As a wonderful gift, they can get that all for themselves and read I've taken a lot of the best scripts that were in the Mind Free app that I've used in retreats, and with the intention the whole time that I was writing the book was the intention of, this is just like seeing me for a one-on-one therapy, or it's just like being at a retreat, or it's similar to listening to the meditation sessions, the guided meditations and guided hypnosis, but people are doing that themselves. And there's a couple of free sessions. There's a page on the book showing you where to go onto the mindfreeapp.com website, and then you can listen to a few really nice de-stress 15-minute sessions. It just takes the stress away. It slows the mind down, and we've had some fantastic feedback on that. We want to make it as beneficial as possible to people so that I could duplicate what I do in a private therapy, what I do at a retreat, as much as possible, so that people feel like as they're reading the book, they're getting hypnotized, and certain sections of the book are actually written hypnotically. And I've had people come back and go, I just trance out, or I start reading it and I fall asleep really quickly. I'm half asleep. That's the mind going into that alpha, dreamy like state. And so you just keep pushing yourself to read it, and the messages keep sinking into the unconscious mind that it is possible. You are strong. You can do it. You are amazing. You are talented. You are creative. You are artistic. Everybody's artistic. Everybody has an inner artist. And yet, some people go to their grave never having discovered that. But everybody is. Whether that's creative writing, whether that's creative painting, there's so many ways. Dance is an art form. We all have an inner artist. And hopefully by reading the book, when people can remove some of those prison bars, that's why I call the book Mind Free, because we live in a prison of negative self-talk where other people have thrown us in that prison sometimes of, you're hopeless, you're fat, you're this, you're that. And then we start going, I'm this, I'm that, I'll never be good enough. It's a load of crap. Don't believe it for another second. You start to change that story. So throughout the book, a person can change their story one thought at a time, so that they do, by the time they get to the end, a wonderful section at the end. So I've just opened the book up onto determination and control. So for example, today I breathe in determination. I am persistent. I am resilient, and I am determined. If life knocks me down 100 times, I will always get up one more time. My mistakes are not failures. Mistakes merely teach me what doesn't work. I do not understand quitting. I learn life's lessons and move forward. I will never give in. I will never give up. I know that persistence and perseverance conquer resistance. Today, I breathe in determination. So that's like a self-meditation. That's 1/3 of that section. And it's forgiveness. Today, I breathe in forgiveness. I am forgiving. I release resentment towards others and myself. If I had my time over, I would do things differently. I forgive myself for the wrongs of the past. I would do things differently. Equally, I forgive others who have wronged me. They too may carry feelings of guilt. I release all thoughts and feelings of regret. They no longer serve me. Today, I breathe in forgiveness. And there's a page on each of these sections for what I call the 21 states, the 21 states that we all need in our life, because we know what it's like to feel angry or sad, or to feel fear, or to feel hurt, or to feel conflict, or guilty, or depressed. We know what that feels like. But to wake up and to read acceptance. Today I breathe in acceptance. I approach each day with an attitude of acceptance or appreciation. I allow appreciation and gratitude to flow to every cell of my being, or calm. Today I breathe in calm. Compassion. I demonstrate compassion to myself and to all I meet. May I learn to look at myself and others with understanding, compassion, and love. Today I breathe in compassion. And it goes on through the 21 states of control, determination, energy, enthusiasm, focus, forgiveness, happiness, health, laughter, love. Today I breathe in love. Love is the most powerful force in the universe. As I bathe myself in the healing power of love, I realize I am lovable. I am loving and I am loved. I am love. And it goes on: mindfulness, motivation, optimism, strength, success, and wisdom. So they're the 21 states that we can step into each day. So we change how we feel. Also, we're removing those prison bars of negativity. The I can't, I'll do it later, I don't have time, too busy. They're all like these negative prison bars. And that's why I call the book Mind Free, because you're setting your mind free, which allows you to live your life free, to feel free. Doesn't mean that you will stop ever having a negative thought or stop ever having a negative feeling again. What it means is, though, you'll be more aware of it, you'll be more mindful of it, and you'll have some tools and strategies to change the I can't to I can, the I'll do it later to I do it now, and the I'm not good enough to, you know what, I am good enough, I'm more than good enough.
A lot of people ask me, what do I do when I don't feel like exercising? But if you could give our listeners a mantra or an affirmation, what would that
Right.
be?
When we tell ourselves, oh, I couldn't be bothered, I'm too tired, those thoughts generate like feelings. So you feel tired, you feel like I couldn't be bothered, you feel like, oh, I might as well just lie down and watch TV and just go back to bed. Yet, if we tell ourselves, I love to move, my body is meant to move. The more I move, or the more active I am, the better I feel. The more active I am, the more energy I have. So you could breathe in, the more active I am, breathe out, the better I feel. The more active I am, the better I feel. I love to move. I love to move. My body is meant to move. My body is meant to move. And that's how we turn it into mindful self-hypnosis, because we're aware of the breathing, we're thinking the thought, and then when we tell ourselves, my body is meant to move, it makes you want to get up and move. Because everybody knows, you might be going, I'm just too tired, I couldn't be bothered going for a walk, it's getting late, it's a bit dark, it's a bit cold, it's a bit hot, it's a bit wet, it's a bit, just stay in bed. No, I'm only kidding. Don't stay in bed. Yeah, you want to change that story, just stay on the lounge, but you want to change that story, because here's what happens, and everybody knows it. Once you get up, you can trick yourself. I'll just go for 5 minutes. I'll just do a 5-minute walk. But as soon as you start to move, as soon as you start to walk and move, you're breathing, your blood's circulating, energy starts to flow through your body, and you get more energy. And how many times you're going, I'll just do a little bit, then 5 or 10 minutes in, I'm feeling good. Let's keep going. I'm going to keep doing this. I feel great. How many times have you come back from doing something physical, or maybe the gym, or maybe just an activity or something, and you go, I feel great. That was so good. Why do I talk myself out of that all the time? Why do I make the excuses I'm too busy? Because oftentimes the same person saying, I'm too busy, they're just stuck in the trance. I'm too busy, too busy, too busy, too much on, I can't keep up with it all. That same person will often spend 2 or 3 or 4 hours a day watching television, on social media, looking at news, surfing the net, wasting time, whatever it might be, but they're too busy. I have people say, I'm so busy, I got so much on, I don't even have time to scratch myself. And I go, you don't have time to scratch yourself? They're going, no, I don't have time to scratch myself. So then I'll often go, what was that? And I'll go, my chin was itchy, so I scratched it. And I go, oh, yeah, it took 1/4 of a second. My nose was itchy, so I scratched it. If you've got an itch, scratch it. Don't say I'm too busy, I don't have time to scratch myself, because that creates a frantic energy. I'm just too busy, I've got too much on, creates a frantic energy. I'm not saying you don't have plenty on, but who's making you busy? Who's creating your action plan, to-do list, your daily schedule, or whether it's, I just couldn't be bothered doing anything. I couldn't be bothered doing anything. Anything? Couldn't even be bothered, getting up and getting a drink of water. Yeah, no, I don't like drinking water. Water, who wants water? Well, your body is made up of 70% water. If you're a little bit overweight, you want to burn the fat, you want to tell yourself, my body loves water. H2O is the way to go. The more water I drink, the more I shrink. I'm not hungry, thirsty. Drink more water, drink more water, drink more water. Not hungry, thirsty. The more I drink, the more I shrink. We change the story. Change the story, you change the way you feel. Change the way you feel, you change your action plan, your behaviors, what you're doing in everyday life.
I love that also in your program, in your app, that you can schedule in times for affirmations, time to visualize your goals, times to practice gratitude throughout the day, drink water as a prompt. And I thought that was incredible. There are so many stories that you share in the book, Mind Free, real life stories of transformations. This is a common thread I often hear, which is, I'm a smoker. I've tried to quit smoking, but then I spin out because I'm craving. I can't do it. I've tried patches. I've tried this. I've done that. There was an incredible story in your book about Merv. Can you share his story with our audience?
Sure. Yeah, Merv, he started smoking around World War II, which is a fair while ago, in the 1940s. So he was smoking during World War II as an 8 or 9-year-old. He just took it up. And then he continued to smoke and eventually ended up smoking 2 packs a day. He tried hypnotherapy. He tried other methods to stop smoking. He tried patches and gum and read books on it. Nothing worked for him. And I said to him, Merv, it'll only work when you are ready. When you make a decision, when you are 100% committed to it, then it'll work. But you still have to reset the mind because of the subconscious cravings. Cigarette with a coffee, cigarette after a meal, first cigarette of the day, cigarette as a break, cigarette when I'm stressed, cigarette when I'm driving, cigarette when I'm hanging out with friends, cigarette last cigarette of the day, whatever it might be. So there's a lot of subconscious triggers that need to be disconnected. Then there's the belief that I'm a smoker, I need a cigarette. So we've got to change the thought patterns. We've got to change the unconscious triggers. And most programs like patches and gum, they don't deal with the triggers. Going cold turkey doesn't deal with the subconscious triggers. So we have to work through that. And that's where the Think Quit program guides you day by day to change your mindset. And then throughout there, breathing in the new me, breathing out is smoke free. The new me is smoke free. And when it comes to cravings, there are no cravings. It's the nicotine leaving your system. So therefore you can get excited to go, yes, wow, the nicotine's leaving my system. I'm getting a bit of a feeling, rather than, oh no, I can't handle it. I need a cigarette. I'm all getting agitated and all funny. No. Think, wow, how lucky am I? The nicotine is leaving my system. The new me is smoke free. And then you have replacement strategies like 10 deep breaths. So in Merv's case, he came at the time I was doing a free 1-hour time seminar when I launched the Think Quit program and the Think Quit book a dozen years ago. Merv came to that and he stopped smoking. He was ready. To his credit, he stopped smoking and he said he thought about it afterwards, but he'd made the decision. Now, every year after that, for years, I get a call from Merv on the anniversary of the day he stopped smoking. Oh, hey, Mark, it's Merv. Just wanted to let you know it's another year I haven't touched a cigarette. I go, good on you, Merv. Well done, mate. By then, Merv was in his 80s, and every year he'd ring me, and I'd ask him every time, so do you ever feel like a cigarette again, Merv? And he'd go, no, Mark, why would I ever touch that cocktail of toxic poisons? Never again. Because that's one of the hypnosis. It's a cocktail of toxic poisons. Your body doesn't need it. You don't need it. You don't want it. You won't have it. And so then anyway, a number of years back, I didn't hear from Merv. There was no call from Merv. And then 2 years went past and I didn't hear from Merv again. I'm going, oh no, Merv had been in his late 80s now. Maybe Merv's gone off to that big tobacco farm in the sky. He's gone. He's no longer here. And this went on for a number of years. And then last year, I kid you not, I get this call. Oh, g'day, Mark. It's Merv. Sorry I haven't rung you for a few years, mate. I lost your number. I'm going, oh, Merv, oh, great to hear from you. He said, you didn't think I was dead, did you, Mark? And I went, oh, no, well, I'm not. And he said, I bet you did. I'm so sorry, mate. I didn't ring you the last 4 or 5 years. And we had a good laugh. And Merv's over at Campsie, and I was at Dolls Point at the time. So I said to him, oh, what are you doing? And it was during the lockdown. And he said, I'm just at home in the garden. And I said, why don't I come over? We'll have a cuppa. And I'll hang out in the garden with you. And he said, yeah, why not? Come on over. So half an hour later, I was at Merv's. We hung out for an hour or two. I left with a big bunch of oranges off his fruit tree. And we just had a yarn, had a cuppa. And it was, such a good time to catch up with old Merv. And he says part of the reason he wanted to stop smoking was besides the fact that he knew it was affecting his health. And the doctor said, you should stop. At the time, he was in his mid to late 70s. And you should stop now. And Merv had made the decision because he'd tried so many times. But he said, I wanted to do it for me, but I also wanted to show other people who are smokers, long-term smokers, that you can stop. So I wanted to be an inspiration for them. And I thought, good on you, Merv. Well done, mate. He's a good bloke. And Merv's story is in the book, along with some other inspiring stories of people that have overcome some of the worst chronic pain, the worst case of insomnia, some of the worst bad habits, and so on. A lot of those case histories are in the book, along with the techniques, the exact methods I used on how to help them overcome their problems, along with the scripts I use. I put as much as I can into the Mind Free book so people can transform their own life and become their own motivational coach, their own meditation teacher, their own self-hypnosis expert in their own life and change their own story.
Wow, that is one impressive story, Merv's story. I'm glad that you're able to share that story. When I read that, I was like, oh, they've got to read this book. They've got to find out about Merv.
What is a packet of cigarettes? I don't know, $40, $50, whatever it is. And if people are smoking just one pack a day, and some smoke more, that's $300 or more a week. That's $1,200 a month. That's $14,000 a year. You do that for 20 years, and that's hundreds of thousands of dollars. You stop for the next 10 years, and you've saved yourself $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. So much more can be done with that. The thing I always say to people, for what? What are you actually getting out of the cigarette? Nothing except 43 cancer-causing chemicals, slowly poisoning yourself. And people go, yeah, but I don't look at the packet. It's my way to relax. Well, there's 1,000 other ways to relax. So in the book, while it's got Merv's story, the techniques on breaking bad habits are there. There's not a whole chapter or section on stopping smoking, but the entire Think Quit program is on the Mind Free app. $12.99 a month. We've made it as affordable as we can because we know there's people in other countries or people that just don't have a lot of money. But if someone's spending $100, $200, $300 a month or a week on cigarettes, what's $12.99, $3 a week, $12.99 a month to reset the mind, to break that habit. And people can get it, like most apps, you download it on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, and the first week's for free with the monthly subscription. If people want to do that, they can check out our website as well, find out more information on mindfreeapp.com. If they decide to get the book, which, you know, it's a wonderful read.
Yes, yeah.
They can get the downloads that come along with the book. But it's just a great place to start for people who want to make positive changes to their mindset, to their habits, to their state. Hypnosis works unbelievably well with chronic pain. Some wonderful case histories in there of chronic pain, people overcoming or reducing their chronic pain as well. You know, I think about 5 million Australians suffer from chronic pain. Millions of people have trouble sleeping. Everybody has a bad habit. So there's something in there for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And what I really love about your book, when I grew up in Australia, I didn't get exposed to meditation or yoga like your beautiful wife, Linda, who you talk about in the book. I learnt if you got stressed, I would see people would have a drink. And I have learnt the hard way that doesn't actually help with stress. It makes things a whole lot worse. And that's not a good idea. So when I discovered meditation and how that could be an alternative to help with stress, I was like, wow. But your book actually has the meditations in there to help people with stress. I've got to ask you, Linda, can we give your wife a big shout out? You talk about her in your book. You've had a beautiful marriage now for some time, many, many decades. What was really fascinating in the book was that she's very mindful throughout all of her day. She reminded me of somewhat like a monk, like one of those very intuitive, in the moment people.
Exactly. Well, Linda's been like that since the moment I met her. And I think her mother was very much like that, but her mother was into yoga and meditation when she was younger. And so Linda was brought up, luckily, with that environment. And I think it's just part of her makeup. It's trained in as well. So she's very, very present, whatever she's doing. We've been married now for just over 30 years. We'll be walking along and I'll say, oh, what are you thinking of? And she'll go, should I be thinking of something? I'm just feeling my legs moving. Oh, okay. And so I'll keep walking. Oh, we'll chat at times and all that. But then I'm very chatty, as you probably gathered by now. I'm like Marcus Megaphone. I'll chat, I'll talk till the cows come home. And she's very zen. They do those silent retreats. I mean, we've got a health retreat. Little Forest Health Retreat, but she could go off to one of those Blue Mountains silent retreats and be happy there for a week or 30 days without saying a word, just to be present, just to notice the nature, to mindfully eat, to mindfully do things and prepare. I'd probably get kicked out after 15 minutes. They go, you signed the thing saying no talking. Do you remember that part? I'd be going,
that'd be me too.
Can you shut up for more than 15 minutes? All right, get the hell out of here. Whereas would go, I'll see you in 30 days. So Linda does yoga every night. She walks, very rarely sits down. She will stand and talk to people on the phone. We don't have a TV. We haven't had a TV for 15, 20 years. She doesn't watch TV. We know what's going on in the world. We just don't want to see it repeated over and over and over again. Tragedy, because that weakens the immune system. So Linda's just very present, whether she's preparing food, eating food, having a cup of tea, walking, doing something, whatever it is, she just joyfully gets into the zone, into the moment with it. And you can see she's just present with it. It's a description of being like a monk. That's her. She's a modern day monk. She's a bit of a new age hippie. We had to go off to a fancy dress. I was emceeing a conference. It was a 1960s night. So I had to go and buy these psychedelic flower colored pants. I created this heart, big thing to wear around my chest. I had the headband on, full psychedelic gear. She just put on her normal clothes. And she looked like she's just transported from the 1960s. She's a bit of a hippie child, but she's very, very relaxed, very chilled. The whole day weaves in and out of meditation, and she gets in the zone with what she's doing. And it's just a great lesson that we can turn eating an apple into being mindful and present. We can turn sipping that water, eating a meal, going for the walk, doing some stretches, listening to music, whatever it might be. We can just be present in that moment. When the mind drifts off, we bring it back, because the mind is always drifting into the past, into the future. We keep bringing it back to now and being present. And Linda lives that. She was a singer when she was younger, so she's got this angelic, beautiful voice. And some of her sessions, which we did by request, we had people at the retreat saying, Linda's got an amazing voice. We like your hypnotic voice, Mark. It's wonderful. But couldn't you get Linda to do some recordings? So she's done some of those recordings on the Mindfree app, and the feedback is that they're some of the most popular sessions. And they're sort of just a very gentle whispering of, you are strong, you are strong.
She has a beautiful voice. I loved how you included your personal story as well as Linda, because for me, I wouldn't have even known that existed in Australia, someone with that upbringing from such a young age. What a blessing. She is so wonderfully been raised in terms of staying in the now. I have to say, I did laugh so much when you talked about, I'm sure it was your early dating years with Linda, and something came up about KFC, some fast food.
We drove past a KFC and a McDonald's. And as we drove past, Linda looked and she said, I wonder what that food's actually like. And I went, you've never eaten a KFC or McDonald's? And she went, no, why would I? And I went, well, I don't know, I guess. And she said, it's not that healthy, is it? And I went, no. And anyway, I said, what about Pizza Hut? And she went, no, why would I? And I went, we're going tomorrow night. And it was in our early dating days. We've been on only 3 or 4 dates. And I said, we're going tomorrow night. The old Pizza Huts used to have the big restaurant, the all-you-can-eat salad bar, and you go in. There was one at St. George Leagues. And I said, let's go. Let's do the vegetarian, thin and crispy, all-you-can-eat pizza. So we did. We went in and got the large, thin and crispy, this big thing of salad. Linda loaded her plate up with the salad and took 2 pieces of the pizza. On the big plate that had the pizza on, the gap that was left, I took a little bit of salad and I had the rest of the pizza. And we ate away and she's going, yes. And at the end, I said, so what did you think? She said, it was all right, but I wouldn't do it again. Okay, why would I? All right, we want a pizza? She's going to make a pizza. We want a salad? She'll make a salad. So, yeah, she's very, very zen, very now. And the reason I included some of those stories were hopefully to inspire other people to go, eating an apple or just going for a walk can be a meditation. Wow. Rather than me
Yeah.
just, you can breathe and meditate while walking. You can focus on an apple. That's a technique, but here's an example of how it can work and you can just flow throughout the day doing something, talking on the phone, and then turning the next thing, walking from one room to the next into 3 breaths of meditation. And that's
Mm.
what I was doing all the time.
I just love the personal touch, the personal stories. It makes it really personal. I love the real life stories. I've got to ask you, Mark, you give so much to everyone. You're always helping people transform their life. You do a lot of speaking. You've got your book launch. You got a lot going on. How do you take care of yourself, and what are some of your self-care rituals?
It's a great question because, like everybody, I get busy, and especially at a time like this, we've got a 2-day seminar tomorrow. We drive down to Melbourne Monday. I've got book signings along the way. We've got a book launch night, more seminars, etc. So there's plenty happening, and we all get busy. But without fail, every single day, I wake up, I do 5, 10, 15 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes of meditation and setting my goals before I get out of bed. Once I get out of bed, I duck to the bathroom, I'll drink a full glass of water. Then I've got a little, especially with COVID, on my vitamin D spray, my liposomal vitamin C. I've got a bit of a ritual with that stuff, my echinacea spray. That starts the day. Then I put a cup of tea on, get that ready. Then I start doing my floor work, some yoga, floor stretches, postural alignment, and all of that takes about 20 to 30 minutes. Then I'll go for a walk. Now, this is every day. Some days the whole routine goes for half an hour, 40 minutes. Other days it goes for over 3 hours, depending on where I have to be and what I've got to do. So then from there, I'll go for my walk, do my Qigong, gentle breathing exercise, movement, Tai Chi. I'll do that, then I'll do my walk back, or I'll do the Qigong and Tai Chi first, then go for a big walk. If I'm somewhere where I can go for a swim, I'll go for a swim. Then I come back and make my breakfast, and that's my routine, which sometimes goes from 5 a.m. or 5:30 or 6 a.m. through till 7 or 8 or 9 a.m. And that's every day. That's my morning ritual. Then throughout the day, if I've got a lot on, I know I'm going to be working late. If I can, at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, I might do a half-hour power nap or a meditation, a half-hour siesta, 20, 30 minutes, 40 minutes max if I can. If I go longer, I then end up all dopey and groggy. So I make sure I don't go for more than 30 minutes or 40 minutes. Then from there, before bed, there's another ritual. So I'll then prepare myself for bed with some reading, some meditation, some gentle stretching. And then once I'm in bed, I wait for the sleep train to pull in. I know my sleep train pulls in, one at 9:30, one at 10:30. Sometimes if I'm staying late, there's another train at 11 o'clock, but if I leave it till after midnight, I miss all the sleep trains, and I'm lying there going, I'm wide awake. I know how to get to sleep, do this, do that, but I'm still wide awake because the last train pulled out of the station. So you want to jump on the sleep train. Don't go, oh, I've just finished watching this. I'll just finish doing that. Jump on the sleep train. And then I've got the rituals, the appreciation meditation, the body and mind together as one meditation. I do a countdown on an old-fashioned school blackboard. I draw the numbers 1 and the 0, 10. Rub it out and write the word sleep. Rub that out and draw the number 9. Rub that out and write the word sleep, and so on. And usually I'm gone pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, I love your self-care rituals. And I've got to ask you, when you started this hypnosis and becoming a hypnotherapist, back then in Australia, people might have thought it was a bit woo-woo. But when
Sure.
you did your training, I mean, you would have been very far and few.
When I started doing the yoga breathing and the meditation as a child, Swami Sarasvati, some of your listeners or viewers might remember the Swami in the late 60s and early 70s had a show in a black leotard. She would get on TV on Channel 10 at 10 a.m. And on my days off school sick with asthma, I'd get there and do the yoga with her on the floor. So yoga was pretty trendy back in the 60s and the 70s, but then it just sort of disappeared during the 80s and 90s. I was doing jujutsu in the 1970s and 80s. Jiu-jitsu only became popular in the last 2 decades. Yoga only became popular in the last 5 to 10 years. meaning meditation has become popular in the last 5 or 10 years. And the hypnotherapy, which I started 30 plus years ago, there are a number of hypnotherapists around, but it's become very, very popular as more people seek to reset their mind, to train their brain, to not look for external crutches or to look at outside things like drinking, drugs, alcohol as an anesthetic to life, but realizing that the happiness is within, that the happiness starts here with our thoughts, the happiness starts with what we're feeling, and that we can, decrease the stress through those moments of calm by creating little rituals in our everyday lives. So yeah, it wasn't so popular. It's becoming more and more popular now, which is a good thing.
I'll have to say it's such a good thing now that we have Mind Free, the breakthrough mindful self-hypnosis method, because this book here is going to be available for decades and decades and decades and many hundreds of years to come. And I think that's what I love about books, is now that you've gone to all that effort and put it in a book, it's going to just keep giving, giving, giving. And I know when I started reading it, I tell you what, I didn't want to put it down. I'd never been so excited to read the book. And I was like, reading, reading, reading. I did it on the beach, listening to the ocean under the tree. So in a very natural setting, which got me pretty chilled and calm and perfect for my meditations, by the way. But I have to say, I've learned so much from your book, being able to now apply it to my own life. And I got so excited that every person I heard that said to me, I can't quit smoking, I can't lose weight, I was like, oh, quick, they need to read this book. I've got to give them this book. So I feel that I want to give this book to so many people as a gift. I'm just so grateful, Mark, that you've written the book. It's now available. I recommend for all of our listeners to grab a copy of Mind Free by Mark Stevens. Before we say goodbye, Mark, what is your hope for your newfound book readers?
Firstly, can I say thank you for all your lovely, kind words. And I'm so grateful for you to share your own personal experience and that you were inspired and you are feeling some positive transformation. So thank you very much for that. Very kind of you. And look, the reason I wrote the book was to help as many people as possible overcome those biggest challenges of life in the easiest way possible. And I'm not saying it's all easy, but I've given every technique, every script, everything I've developed over decades, I haven't held back. And the publisher said, are you revealing all of your secrets, all of your tricks? Pretty much. She said, is this everything you know? I said, if it was, the book might be 200,000 or 300,000 words, but it's a great 82,000 words that will inspire people to change and transform their own life. Because we do get stuck. We do get stuck with our thoughts. We do get stuck in a state of being a certain way within our bad habits or whatever that may be. And so my hope is that by people reading the book, that they'll, one, be inspired to make a positive change and transformation in their own life, but then they'll go on and inspire others and create a ripple effect out there in the world where you become the rising tide that lifts all ships. And that's my hope for the book.
I love your hope. And I have to say, after 2 years of COVID, I think we all need the Mind Free book, because it's pretty easy to get caught up in that negative energy or negative thoughts. Even if you consumed only a couple of videos or news articles or tuned into the radio or whatever it might be, we really got to retrain our mind. And it was just so refreshing to get into that positive mindset and to say goodbye to negative thoughts. So thanks again, Mark Stevens. I'll have to have you back on the show another time. I'm a real big fan of your book. It's incredible. It's a life changer. And thanks for going to all the effort to make it happen.
Thank you very much, Yvette, for having me on the show. Great to be here and great to have everybody join us here today. And remember, one thought can change your life. Change is easy. Change is good. And you can do it because you're worth it and you deserve it.
I love it. What's the best way to stay in contact with you after this podcast show?
If people want more information, they can check out mindfreeapp.com, or they can visit the retreat website, our Inner Makeover, INNER makeover.com.au. And that's got all the information you can find out about the book, the Mind Free app, the seminars. This week, maybe it's already happened by the time you're listening to it, but this coming week, we've got a free book launch night, and for 2 hours I'll give 110% in meditations and hypnosis, which is what we do in our retreats as well. But there's so much great stuff in the book. Hopefully you get out there, enjoy it and read it. And we'd love to hear your feedback. If you've got any questions, you need any advice, just contact us through the mindfreeapp.com website. Remember, breathe in peace, breathe out release.
I love that. And I should say, make sure if you do grab a copy, which is part of our Spirit Girl Book Club, to hashtag Spirit Girl Book Club, hashtag Mindfree, hashtag Mindfree app, hashtag Mark Stevens, hashtag Murdoch Books, just hashtag books, book club, positive thinking, change your life, all those hashtags. And be sure to share this podcast show with everyone you love and know. So we'll say goodbye to Mark.
Arrivederci, ciao, gracias, thank you, and we'll see you next time.
And we'll say goodbye to our beautiful audience. Be sure to subscribe, to leave a 5-star rating and review, and to tell someone you love too. And together, let's feel good from within.